Welcome to the State of the Schools address for Cuyahoga Falls City Schools. I'm your Superintendent, CEO, Dr. Todd Nichols, and we're trying something different today, a voiceover PowerPoint of an original presentation that was provided to the Cuyahoga Falls Chamber of Commerce last Wednesday, November 28, 2012. Dr. N's 5 essential questions are before you, and they serve as visual reminders and questions that drive our data-driven decision-making process. You can find them in any of our schools and in our classrooms, many of our classrooms, and they serve as visual reminders of that decision-making framework for our students and our staff. We have 2 overarching expectations in Cuyahoga Falls. The first having to do with our business expectation and assuring a first-class service delivery model within our fiscally responsible parameters. Essentially, we attempt to achieve a revenues over expenditures, or at least equal, business model, as all of you in the private sector attempt to achieve. To do so, we use a zero-based budgeting approach and an appropriations formula that is based on a review of spending history research from many school districts across Ohio. Naturally, we are in the people business, and therefore 75 to 80% of our revenues are appropriated for personnel costs, as you will see on the upcoming slides. In October of 2011, the revenue projections were $47,819,000. Accordingly, the appropriations totaled $47,789,000. However, as we prepared the May 2012 5-year forecast, we identified a need to reduce the revenue projection to $45,782,000, thus a mid-year reduction of nearly $2.1 million. To counter the shortfall in revenue, we reduced our appropriations by nearly $1.9 million, but were not able to close the gap any further and finished the year $218,000 in deficit spending, as noted on the top line of the slide. As of October 2012, we projected fiscal year 13 revenue to total $45,930,000. As you may recall, the district passed a replacement levy in May 2011, which was supposed to generate nearly $4 million in additional revenue. Unfortunately, we were also hit with a $2.7 million reduction of state support, a decline in property value from $800 million to $735 million, and an increase in delinquencies from $1 million to $2.5 million over the last 2 fiscal years. Therefore, the replacement is not generating the projected revenue. However, if it had not passed, the district would be in far worse financial condition. Further, our projected expenditures for fiscal year 13 total $46,334,000, which represents $403,000 over budget. Thus, we'll have to do everything we can to meet our goal of revenue over expenditures. That being said, our year-to-date fiscal position suggests that we are roughly $475,000 behind at this time last year. However, we would caution everyone that timing is everything, and when an organization is on a 26-pay cycle, a 3-pay month like November can change the year-to-date outlook dramatically. We'll have a more clear picture in December at the halfway point of the fiscal year, just in time for statewide budget talks to begin in February, followed closely by negotiations with 2 of our 3 unions. This slide represents a quick overview of the revenues and line item expenditures over the last 10 fiscal years. You will see that our fiscal year 13 revenues are minimally better than revenues in fiscal year 06. And they have been flatlined for the last 4 fiscal years in a row. In addition to the reductions mentioned earlier, we've also been hit with an $800,000 reduction in federal funding in the last fiscal year. And given the discussions in Washington, D.C., we don't anticipate federal funding getting better anytime soon. In fact, we are bracing for the worst, a mid-year reduction. As we discuss school choice across Ohio, it is important to note that $771 million was transferred from traditional public schools to community schools by way of foundation payments. Thus, it is important to detail the facts associated with performance and funding of community schools. As you can see, more than 228 students and nearly $1.6 million went from Cuyahoga Falls City School District to community schools that have performance indices inferior to ours. Another option in terms of school choice is open enrollment. Based on last year's enrollment data, more than 173 resident students of Cuyahoga Falls City Schools chose another traditional public school in the area, and more than 251 students from other area districts chose Cuyahoga Falls. As a result, the district netted nearly $450,000. This year, the enrollment data suggests we have an additional 125 students who have chosen to open enroll to our district, and 30 students fewer who have chosen to open enroll out of our district. Thus, our revenue should be positively impacted in fiscal year 14. Overall, our 2012-2013 enrollment is 70 students higher than at this time last year, and kindergarten enrollment is 48 students higher than last year, a reflection of our all-day kindergarten program. Often we are asked about the academic performance of students who reside out of the district. As noted, the composite scaled scores on all the Ohio Achievement Assessments and Ohio Graduation Tests suggest that differences between resident students and those open enrolled from other districts is not significantly or statistically significant. Given the fiscal position of the district, it is important to project into the future. As such, we anticipate requesting a permanent improvement levy, primarily to maintain our buildings and grounds, update our bus fleet, and purchase technology such that our staff can continue to deliver high-quality education through the most current means available, and such that they are prepared for the next generation of assessments beginning in 2014-15. Over the next several slides, you will see the importance and the emphasis that we're placing on technology in the classroom. Over the next 10 years, the direction of the district will likely be in the hands of the voters each year. Our singular academic expectation is to meet every student where they are on the cognitive continuum as opposed to the chronological continuum, and guarantee at least 1 year of academic growth for each year in our system. The Ohio Department of Education identifies 20 similar districts across the state. When compared to those districts, Cuyahoga Falls City School District's performance index ranks in a tie for 15th out of the 21 districts. One statistic that we followed for a number of years is associated with the percentage of students who qualify for free or reduced lunch prices and the percentage of students who qualify for special education services. I call this self-created statistic as the number of hurdles in your lane statistic. Without doubt, the demographics of Cuyahoga Falls is changing, as is the case in most first-ring suburbs across the state. As such, Cuyahoga Falls City School District has the 14th most hurdles in our lane. While the correlation is not always a one-to-one correlation, it is a strong predictor of academic success. Moreover, the district has hovered from 13th to 18th in performance index ranking over the last 5 years. Most recently, the performance index increased in 12 school districts, went down in 7, and stayed the same in 2 others, with an average increase of just less than 0.3 of a point. Over the 5-year period of time, all 21 districts' performance index increased by an average of 2.4 points. So, while our 0.2 of a point decrease this year trails the pace of our cohort group by 0.5 point, our 5-year average increase is 0.4 better than the average of the cohort group. Closer to home in Summit County, our demographics suggest that we have the 14th most hurdles in our lane, and accordingly our performance index is 14th out of the 17 school districts. Again, the statistic is self-created and does not always represent a one-to-one correlation. However, it is a strong indicator. So what does a district or school do to overcome the hurdle factor? Well, we are not a high poverty school district. Key attributes to successful high poverty school districts, however, apply to all schools. And the attributes identified in the study highlighted above can also be found in the 90-90-90 research conducted by Dr. Douglas Reeves and his associates at the Leadership and Learning Center. So what changes have taken place in Ohio, and how is Cuyahoga Falls responding to those changes? Well, as you can see at the bottom portion of this slide, everything with regard to education in Ohio has changed or will change over the next 2 years. Let's start with the Common Core state standards: reading, math, science, and social studies standards. Then the teacher and principal evaluation systems that require 50% of the evaluation to be based upon student growth. Then we go to the assessments. The Ohio Achievement Assessments and Ohio graduation tests are going away. They're being replaced by PARCC assessments, end of course assessments, and to replace the OGT, likely a nationally standardized test similar to something like the ACT. The state report card system is also changing. Pay attention to House Bill 555 to see the details of those changes. The licensure and resident educator programs and how our students and new teachers are progressing through the licensure system. Our pension systems have also changed: STRS, SERS, PERS, and etc. The funding formula will likely change with a budget review update starting in February. How have we responded? In Cuyahoga Falls, we've responded by instituting positive behavior supports, which identifies the behaviors that we want our students to exhibit, and then rewards the students for demonstrating those behaviors. It goes back to the old theory: you gather more bees with honey. Second, all-day kindergarten, with the changes in the standards and the assessments as highlighted below. We want to make sure that our students are as prepared as possible, and frankly, we couldn't possibly teach the standards and meet the expectations in a half-a-day setting. Third, bring your own technology. Provides the students the opportunity to use the technology they have in their pockets to enhance their opportunities to learn and access information in the classroom. Fourth, early release Wednesdays. Very prescriptive model of development within our system using the professional learning community, or PLC model. First Wednesday of the month, we examine formative instructional practices. What are those research-based instructional practices that produce the greatest gains in student achievement in the classroom? Second Wednesday of each month, the Common Core state standards, implementing those within our classroom and creating maps that progress through those standards. And a response to intervention. Identify students who are in need of more enrichment and those students who are in need of more intervention to support their progress through our system and to meet our academic expectation. Third Wednesday of the month is our Technology Wednesdays, where the teachers are learning how to flip their classrooms, how to create blogs and websites, etc., and use technology to enhance their instruction in the classroom. And the fourth Wednesday of each month is focused on student growth, on common assessments like iReady, grade level assessments, Explore, Plan, ACT data. We'll talk more about iReady in the coming slides. So what are the department and district goals for 2012-2013? We have 4 departments within Cuyahoga Falls, and in our strategic planning process, Plan for the 21st Century, there are 4 focus areas. We will walk you through the goals in each one of those 4 departments and focus areas in the coming slides. With regard to teaching and learning, by the end of this school year, we hope to have 85% of our students demonstrate 1 year's growth in reading as measured by the iReady in grades K to 8. iReady is a web-based assessment tool that we use in reading and math in grades K to 8, and we've selected iReady because it is a state-approved assessment system, and it is most similar to the PARCC assessments as we prepare for their implementation in 2014 and 15. And in grades 9 through 12, we will use common assessments this school year. We are hoping that iReady develops something for us in grades 9 through 12 in reading and math for the coming years. You see that Goal 2 is the same as Goal 1, except for it's focused on mathematics, not on reading. Goal 3, a culture of excellence goal. Department of Teaching and Learning will support 100% of our teachers and administrators in promoting a culture of excellence across the district through professional development. What you've seen in many of the school districts or schools across our district is the use of data folders, where students are tracking their own progress through the curriculum, and then student-led parent-teacher conferences, where the student is leading both the parent and the teacher through their data folder and making suggestions on how they might improve their performance going forward. That's just one piece that's being implemented across our district with regard to a culture of excellence. Our focus area number 1 is associated with teaching and learning as well. PT 21 reminder is our strategic plan, planning for the 21st century. The first goal is to build the technological capacity to meet future teaching, learning, and assessment needs. I mentioned in previous slides that our focus is on the implementation of technology throughout our district. And so you can see the sub-goals associated therewith. We need to seek alternative ways to put technology in the hands of our students. For example, we just purchased iPad carts, which will represent mobile labs throughout our district. We need to survey our teachers and conduct a survey of our classroom to determine our human and physical capacity and needs to be prepared for web-based assessments throughout our district. The second goal is to determine ways to increase available time for different types of learning and scheduling across our district. One of the pieces that we have as a sub-goal to that, I mentioned earlier, the teachers and using technology and creating blogs. What we have experienced with our teacher blog sites and flipping of the classrooms is that the school day is extended. Students have the opportunity to respond, and teachers to respond to our students at hours beyond the normal school day. And that is one example of using technology and the websites to flip our classrooms. And as mentioned below, we use one Wednesday each month to specifically target the use of technology and instruction in our classrooms. The board developed a goal around focus area number 1, and that is to have 100% of our teachers engage in at least one web-based learning project opportunity each semester. Our principals are monitoring the implementation of this goal or progress towards this goal and reporting it to us on a quarterly basis. Our second department is our Student Services Department, and they have a few goals as well for this year. The first is to put together a pamphlet that identifies all the available services and make sure that it's available for our students and our families. The second goal is to make sure that we have a minimum of 15 community members on each one of our goal areas, our focus areas for the plan for the 21st century. And again, while this is specific to student services, it is a goal for each one of our focus areas with regard to PT 21. Third goal is to monitor the progress of our all-day kindergarten program. And to do so, we gathered baseline information from the Kindergarten Readiness Assessment for Literacy, CRAWL, and from iReady in reading and mathematics. And then on a regular basis, on a quarterly basis, we revisit our student progress, with regard to these, with regard to reading and mathematics, using these tools to make sure that we are producing an all-day kindergarten program that is adding value to our students. And the fourth goal is to establish clear career pathways for academic choices in accordance with each one of the 16 career clusters. This actually has been an initiative of our Business Advisory Council, and we have created career courses in 6th and 7th grade and identified liaisons for each one of the 16 career clusters, and hope to have those liaisons working directly with our teachers and our students in the 6th and 7th grade classes, and hope to engage our students in more purposeful education, more purposeful selection of their courses with regard to their career goals. Focus area number 2 is associated with student services as well. And the first goal is to work collaboratively to define a culture of excellence within the district. And in terms of the sub-goals, PBIS, positive behavior supports, as well as Rachel's challenge, is specifically targeting the behavioral aspect of culture of excellence throughout our district. We know that we have to conduct professional development with regard to our diversity of our student and community population. As mentioned earlier, we are a first-ring suburb, and the demographics of Cuyahoga Falls are changing, and we need to make sure that our staff is prepared for the changes that are taking place with regard to our changing demographics. And we need to create a list of variables that help define excellence. There's no question that our Tiger Band represents, our Black Tiger Marching Band represents excellence. What are the variables associated with the Black Tiger Marching Band that need to be implemented throughout our school district to define that culture of excellence? Second goal and focus area number 2 is to make sure that we effectively communicate with our students, our parents, all of the services that are available. You know, essentially, this is a campaign against the best kept secrets within our district. There are many programs that are programming opportunities available to our students and our parents, and we need to make sure that that secret is out and openly known amongst our community. We want to keep our district website updated on the available services for the students and their families. This is always a challenge with busy personnel, and we have recently updated our website and plan to continue to do a better job with regard to keeping that website updated. Many of our buildings are actually doing a fantastic job of it right now. And then we need to plan and hold community showcase focusing on all of the school services. The board goal associated with focus area number 2 is that each school will host, participate in, and or develop a Tiger Pride community activity each semester. So each one of the buildings should be engaging in a public or a community engagement event that's fun and open to all of our community members. Third department is human resources. And there are several goals with regard to human resources. First of all, our newly hired teachers participate in resident educator training. And we want to make sure that each one of our new teachers is successful in the Resident Educator 1 program by the end of their first year of employment. The second is to increase the percentage of our teaching staff who is actively engaged in the Master Teacher Program or National Board Certification by the end of the school year. Unfortunately, the state of Ohio doesn't provide a lot of incentive for teachers to progress through these levels, and it has to be quite a bit self-directed at this point. We hope to incentivize the Master Teacher Program or the National Board Certification Program as we progress through the school year. Third goal with regard to human resources is actually a law. By July of 2013, we have to have a policy on Ohio Teacher Evaluation System and Ohio Principal Evaluation System. As mentioned earlier, the evaluation systems are changing, and 50% of those evaluations for teachers and for principals, it will be based upon student growth. And on the surface, that might seem like an easy task, but when you compare the different programs and different classes that we teach, to create a system that is fair and equitable amongst all teachers within our district is quite a challenge. We have a fantastic team assembled. They're having amazing discussions with regard to this particular piece of legislation, and we are way ahead of the curve and compared to our colleagues at other districts on this particular policy. Focus area number 3, family, business, and community involvement, is related to human resources, and we want to improve all opportunities for family involvement in K-12. Community engagement is something that we can't get enough of, in fact, and hopefully this presentation helps us with regard to transparency and our communications. And then lastly, want to make sure that we address the business and community expectations as to the needed skills of our graduates. We want to make sure that we have employable students that are prepared for college and prepared for careers when they exit Cuyahoga Falls City Schools. The board goal with regard to focus area number 3 is to develop a fun-filled community engagement event at which the state of the schools will be shared. This is not the fun-filled community engagement piece that we're talking about. Last May, you may remember our free spaghetti dinner that we offered, the building tour, and then the presentation that we prepared in the auditorium, to which 600 plus community members attended. We hope to do something similar, yet different this spring. Our last area is our business operations. The first goal with regard to business operations is to make sure that our staff members receive at least 8 hours of PD related to their work assignment for this particular year through our Early Release Wednesday program. We have focused so far this year on customer service. Our local hospital here has improved their performance substantially and is recognized now as one of the most highly rated customer service organizations in the medical field. Sumer Western Reserve and Dr. Bob Kent and Mark Bosco and the team over there have done a fantastic job, and we hope to emulate their customer service program. Second goal is by June 30th, 2013, at the end of this school year, we need to have a replacement plan for all of our critical equipment. As mentioned earlier, we will be seeking will likely be seeking a permanent improvement levy, and this will be the list and the timeline that's associated with those permanent improvement dollars. And then the third goal is a 2-part facilities plan for the district, a replacement renovation plan, and a long-term rehabilitation of existing equipment. Replacement renovation is associated with the Ohio Schools Commission and the dollars that will come available in the next 3 to 5 years. The split on those dollars is 75% local, 25% state share on new buildings throughout the district. And the second phase of this facilities piece, or facilities goal, is if that bond issue would never come to fruition. If the bond issue doesn't come to fruition, we're going to have to rehabilitate our existing buildings, but we have a dynamic vision of what the school district can become in terms of facilities and the educational opportunities within those facilities over the next few years, and we will be sharing that vision more as we move towards the spring. Focus area number 4 is associated with business operations, and we've touched on much of this previously. First of all, I need to coordinate with the teaching and learning folks to determine the hardware needs for teaching with technology, determine the district's eligibility on the Ohio Schools Commission dollars. As mentioned earlier, we expect our eligibility to be in the next 3 to 5 years, and increase community involvement in the planning and recommendation process for those facilities. The board goal with regard to focus area number 4 is to explore an alternate source of property tax other than property tax of school funding. We've engaged the other 16 superintendents in Summit County in a discussion about sales tax. Unfortunately, that would be a county-wide initiative and will not be available to us at this point in time. I'd like to thank you so much for paying attention. I hope you gleaned a lot of information with regard to our schools. If you have comments with regard to this presentation, feel free to email me at the address listed below. Have a great day.